Hello again and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover as things got heated over the past few hours between Fat Joe and Jamar, and they have traded disses that sparked a crap storm on social media. And yes, Fat Joe pretty much echoed M's Jamar diss among other things. And this one in particular riled up Jamar, and they sparked some serious division online based on the nature of the conversation. Today we also have more from M, as we are set to get a Christmas special from the rapper coming in a few hours, and we got a snippet of M speaking on the classic that slipped away, and this sparked some interesting reactions from fans. More on this later. And today we also have more on Kendrick Lamar, who continues to sweep 2024 in the hip-hop space. And this time around, he was named the greatest pop star of 2024 that sparked heated debate and even triggered some pop fans. And before we get to it, here's a fun fact about rap/hip-hop in 2024 on YouTube, as M's been the #1 hip-hop artist for each month all through 2024 so far, and he is tracking ahead of everyone else to clinch 12 in 12 months for the year 2024 so far. And as we've come to expect when M is involved, things get salty real quick as a user reacted to this dominance with boomer fanbase. Now, it is not like there's anything wrong with having a boomer fanbase, but remember, M is currently the #1 rapper in the world for Gen Z according to real-world data from Luminate, one of Billboard's sources. So we had to clear the air to keep it factual. And moving on, they sparked heated debates a few hours ago. Kendrick Lamar has been named the #1 greatest pop star of 2024 by Billboard. And boy, this got some seething right now, all while they claim to be laughing. Check this out. I can't stop laughing at the idea of Lil Kenny and Greatest being used in the same sentence. Laughing emojis. If Kendrick is considered pop, then everyone else must be country. Hopefully, Kendrick's fans now see and understand that his rise is purely industry-driven. He didn't work to become a pop star, and I think this is all UMG and Spotify is doing. It is clear that giving Kendrick this award was just to slight Drake, but now everyone sees the truth. Drake won the beef, and Drake fans aren't letting up, but I thought Drake being a pop star is a bad thing. Now all of a sudden, Kendrick fans love that Kendrick is a pop star, laughing emojis. But as far as I know, you don't have to make quote pop music to make such a list, but Drake fans kept going off. Not the rap Jesus being a pop star skull emoji. And as it stands, Billboard named Drake the top hip-hop artist at the Billboard Awards 2024, and now the same Billboard has crowned Kendrick the greatest pop star of 2024. What are your thoughts? And moving on, before we get to Fat Joe and Jamar getting into it, we got a glimpse from M about the classic that slipped away, all thanks to the leaks and the fact that he was fighting demons around the time. Check out a snippet from an upcoming M interview in a few hours.
What's your favorite records from Encore?
Yellow Brick Road, Toy Soldiers.
I'll tell you a record from Encore that has had a second life 20 years later.
Mockingbird.
Yep. Mockingbird.
Yes.
You know, that album actually would have been right there with the Eminem show if we hadn't had those leaks. Because if Bully would have been on there, I saw 50 was talking about something like that in an interview recently about the massacre, and
I think he gave some songs away.
Yeah. So he had I guess that would be a similar situation when we had the leaks, because Bully, the Cannabis song,
We As Americans,
Bully, We As Americans, Love You More.
There's an intruder.
Yeah, and I had 7 songs from it
that
leaked.
Yeah,
and it was half the album. So I had to go back.
Was that Who Kid?
If that wouldn't have happened, if that would not have happened,
Wow.
If the leaks wouldn't have happened and it would have been the best song, it would have been the best songs from Encore would have made it with those songs, and then it would have been definitely a more solid.
Still a
project.
great album, and what happened?
I don't hate that album, by the way. I don't hate it. I hate when I think back to that time where I was at in life. Like I hated, like what I was doing as far as
drugs.
Drugs and just where I was at personally with that and going back to that time. Like I still like I cringe when I think about that shit, but I don't hate the actual body of work. There's a couple songs that were probably a little too goofy. I should have left off, but for the most part, I'm still happy with that album. I don't think it matched the caliber of the Eminem Show, but there was still some songs on there that I really did put a lot into. So.
And it is crazy that we've been talking about how underrated Yellow Brick Road has been, only for the song to be the first he mentioned when he was asked about his favorite songs from the album. And now some users are asking, why didn't he just stick to the plan? It leaked, so what? Could have had Love You More as the third track or something. But the thing is, he's not the only one who gets to decide that. The label 100% put their foot down. He had to record new songs after the others leaked before they dropped the album. He didn't have the freedom he has today back then, and now some users are out here suggesting this. Honestly, M should make a 20-year edition for Encore, but he cuts the songs that were the replacements and adds the songs that were leaked. That would be so cool. Some have called this Encore Marshall's version, and it is crazy because without the leaks, the same way people debate MMLP versus the Eminem Show would be the same way people would have been debating the Eminem Show versus Encore. But what are your thoughts on the release of the so-called Encore Marshall's version that would be released exactly as it was intended before the leaks? And moving on, the quote, "not like us" debate when it comes to who qualifies as part of hip-hop culture has gotten to Fat Joe, it seems. The whole conversation on if Drake qualifies has also been affecting Fat Joe for some time, and he went off on the proponents of this narrative on My Expert Opinion with Math Hoffer. Check out a snippet that shows Fat Joe with no holds barred.
Hip-hop was Puerto Rican and black? Let's start by this. These rumors were made by radical black racists. Let's just say that. It's a group of these guys that don't want to hear Jamaican, don't want to hear Guyanese, they don't want to hear a black guy that ain't down with them. So their job is to criticize anybody who don't look like them or who ain't Black American.
Who are these guys?
You want me to say their name? We're going to give them too much clout.
I mean,
the FBA, Foundational Black Authority, whoever the these broke niggas is. They trying to change the narrative. They're not from New York. So they telling a whole nother story. This was whoopity doop wop. Yo, bro. Far as I know, we're at Yankee Stadium right now and it's hip hop's 50th birthday. And the guy who invented it, Grandmaster Flash, my brother carried his crates. My babysitters made up let me hear say, ho, it's two girls, twins, used to babysit me. So they have a big problem, these guys, right? So they're against anybody who ain't with them. So this ain't a popular message. This ain't what everybody's saying. We might be giving them too much light right here is what I'm trying to tell you. So there's a small minority to get on them Twitters and they running it up. We got a fucking Looney Tune, like your man Lord Jamal, who's a fucking Looney Tune. Okay, he's a loony bin. We just said that the drug of choice is attention, it's this and this and that. They get a guy who he was a legend, he's brand Nubian, and he's the wackest nigga in the crew, be clear. Now, this nigga might be like trying to get lit, trying to say anything. The world's flat, this, that, anything to go viral. What I'm trying to tell you is that this opinion comes from a tribe. It comes from a group of people that hate everybody but them. You know, this radical anything. If you do enough of that shit, enough of in-house racism, you wind up looking at the world fucked up and you can't even move around. The pioneers, the Grandmaster Flashes, the Cool Hercs, the Melly Mel's, they're like, yo, we don't know what the these people talking about. Like, they're confused. They fucked with the wrong nigga. That's the problem. Fat Joe the wrong one.
And before we get to Jamal firing back at Fat Joe, boy, the division this has caused is monumental, as some are pushing to cancel Fat Joe for slamming the people who share Jamal's beliefs, and some are pulling up receipts on Fat Joe to prove he's, quote, not like us. A non-black Hispanic who says dude is mad because black Americans are putting an end to the false narratives surrounding the creation of hip-hop. All the pioneers say Hispanics came later, once the foundation was already laid. Here's Grandmaster Kaz.
Directly that much in the early days of hip hop.
They weren't.
One or two. My partner, Disco Wiz, my first DJ partner in hip hop, he used to beat up people in the street for telling them, why you hanging with them niggas? Why you hanging with Moreno?
Well, he was what, Puerto Rican?
He was Puerto Rican, half Cuban. And we were together every day, like brothers, you know what I mean? Dressed, everything, you know what I mean? And he would always catch flack from Puerto Ricans for being with me, you know what I mean? And he'd knock them the out. You know what I mean? So when in like 78, 79, more Latinos started migrating toward hip hop, you know what I mean, dancing as b-boys and stuff, they kind of changed the whole fabric of the breakdancing thing as b-boys, but it was a gradual thing as far as Puerto Ricans getting involved into hip hop. Puerto Rico was playing congas and timbales in the park while we was playing turntables, all right? So they are guests.
And they kept going. On my dead black American ancestors, F. Fat Joe. And El Jamar returned fire at Fat Joe. Check out a snippet from the God Pod with El Jamar.
We gonna get on Math Hoffa because he was pissing me off too. He gonna get on a platform and talk about I don't understand what's the point of all the division and all this type of. If you're not from New York, you wouldn't understand that blacks and Puerto Ricans grew up together. Let's keep it a buck, man. Let's stop the. Some of us grew up together. Some of us got along and some of us didn't. You know goddamn well there was the Puerto Ricans that with hip hop, and then there was the Puerto Ricans that only went to salsa and merengue clubs and ain't with black people at all. There was the Jamaicans that fucked with hip hop and all that type of and then there was some Jamaicans that only went to Jamaican clubs and didn't really with Yankee boys, them like that. Like, let's keep it real. Let's talk about Rikers Island. If we're so together, then why is there a black phone and a Puerto Rican phone? Why is it that certain people that you might be cool with on the street, if they was Puerto Ricans, y'all can't even talk to each other on the island? There's been Puerto Rican power rule god bodies that had to basically fall victim and renounce being God once they went to jail, because it was like that. Why do you think gangs like sex, money, murder, and all this type of were even instituted in the first place? To protect themselves from the Puerto Ricans on the island like that in jail. So let's stop this and stop acting like we had this harmonious relationship. Yes, some of us did, but this wasn't across the board. The ones that fucked with us were rebels. They were pioneers. They were going against what their parents and their older siblings were telling them to do. Stop with those morenos. Stop with those cocolos. What are you doing? You're acting black. Stop it. Stop it, Hector. Come on, man. Think I didn't hear it? And so I don't like when people try to move the goalposts. When Math went up there trying to move the goalposts and talking about if I was to come on his show, I don't want to go on the show. If I was to come on his show, he might get some pushback and all. I might get some pushback. So I'm always getting pushback. I'm ready for pushback at all times. When we talk the greatest in hip hop, Brand Nubian is in the conversation as one of the greatest groups. Top 20, if not top 10. Fat Joe, you're not in any conversation as any of the greatest MCs. But you know why he could never be? Because when you don't write your own rhymes, how dare you try to critique somebody that does? And see, again, he tried to open up this narrative that I was somehow the wackest. First of all, what does that mean? Wackest? So that means whack, whacker, and wackest? Are you saying that the whole Brand Nubian was whack? What does that mean, wackest? And to try to put that narrative out there again, and now to have it flip on you, everybody's like, wait a minute, you were the wackest in DITC. You were the wackest in Terror Squad. Think you thought that your money and your connections to corporate America made you more powerful than me? No, sir. Nah, this FBA shit is strong.
And boy, this sparked even more division, as while some understand where El Jamar is coming from, they also provided some more context. I'm from the Bronx, and yeah, he's right. But there was also plenty of grown black people that didn't F with hip-hop back in the day either. Now this is the part that El Jamar conveniently skipped when he was talking about Puerto Ricans not liking hip-hop. Many black Americans, especially the older generation, never F'd with hip-hop culture, many of them till this day. So it is not like even black Americans were all in from the get-go. And now we got El Jamar getting exposed as, quote, non-FBA. This dude forgot he's Guyanese for FBA clout, laughing emojis. How do y'all take the internet and these dudes seriously is beyond me, laughing emojis. And apparently El Jamar's father is Guyanese, and when a user fired back with, no, you're moving the goalpost, if one of your parents is FBA, then you are FBA. And apparently, we gotta find out that Drake is even more FBA than Jamar. Laughing emojis. And yet this app spent this whole summer calling a Canadian with an FBA father everything but that. And I'm moving the goalpost? Yeah, y'all can have the internet, man. I clearly don't have the internet guidelines, it seems. Laughing emojis. And in regards to Jamar, some are asking, remind me again, what is this clown's contributions to our culture or anything? It is time to call an end to this clown show. Well, I learned something new today. Never knew that after all the waffling, turns out Jamar is reportedly the kid of an immigrant who is now posing as a speaker for FBA. But what are your thoughts? Tell us below in the comment section. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.